we're here with another episode of Conversations and Connections. We're the official podcast of the Family Crisis Center of East Texas. I'm Stuart Burson, the prevention coordinator for the agency, and the holidays are among us, and I always like to take this time of the year to kind of focus in on the holiday theme, and that's why I invited one of our agency counselors, Carrel King, who's still kind of new to the agency, I guess I could say. I invited Carrel to come on board to kind of talk about holidays, dealing with all things holiday related, especially in the line of work that we do, which is, of course, working with survivors and victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. Carrel, thank you so much.
Hi.
Well, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So how long have you been with the agency now?
2.5 months.
Okay,
so not long.
So I was
I've
like,
been in practice for a couple of years.
I was like, I think Carol's been around long enough here now where I can get her to come onto the podcast. So I appreciate it. So one of the things I want to do, like I said, it is the holidays, and you are a counselor here. Do you know? Do we usually see an uptick in incidents of domestic violence incidents during the holiday season? Do you know what is that like?
Well, according to the research that I've done, it's there are actually fewer hotline calls this time of year, though in January the hotline calls go up, and many of the incidents that are reported happened the prior few weeks, so during the holiday season, and a lot of police investigations go up around the holiday season, so that's more of an clear indicator that they do rise, that the incidents around the holidays definitely do increase by about 20%.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think we see a trend during the holidays, this kind of trend of maybe incidents going up?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different factors, stress being one of them. It could be anything from finances to being home with everybody. They also go up just because there's more opportunity. People who had been at their jobs are now at home. Kids are now at home. So just the opportunity is there. People are isolated. They don't go to work. And so they are cut off from supports they might have had otherwise. So those are some of the things. Obviously, also around the holidays, people drink more alcohol, which it's not the cause of abuse, but can make the abuse more likely to happen. So that's another sort of factor that goes into the increase.
Okay. What about sexual assault? Is there a difference in reporting during the year between the sexual assault and domestic violence, or is it all pretty much the same?
I mean, there is a little bit of a difference. I mean, some of it is obviously tied up with domestic violence, obviously, but there are also a lot more parties around the holidays, people getting more drunk around the holidays with alcohol, which can often make those things happen more frequently. Again, like I said, there's more opportunity. People are together. Families who have that element in them are together, and so the opportunity is just increased because people are together. Right.
Well, and the holidays are also a time when folks may be reminded of things that have happened to them in the past, just because they're around family. Or I think also the holidays just probably makes us feel nostalgic about family and friends and your life, and it's the end of the year, and you kind of maybe take stock of what's happened in the past. Is that something as a counselor that you've had to deal with?
I mean, sure. I mean, with any kind of trauma history a person has, there's going to be anniversaries. People will be triggered around the anniversary of whatever that trauma is. And because those traumas can happen more frequently around the holidays can be very triggering for some people. And that can be really difficult. And I would just, encourage people to, if that happens to you, don't decide that you're not allowed to have those feelings. You're allowed to have the feelings you have. If you're traumatized by something, if you're dealing with your own triggers around something, you have every right to deal with those feelings you're a person to, just because everyone around you wants you to be happy and wants you to do things the way they want, you are allowed to have your feelings too.
Right. Well, and maybe this is just opinion. It's the way I feel about, it's when you're around the holidays and, God forbid you give off any indication that you're depressed or you're not, you got the blues and you have people around you. Oh, well, don't feel that way. It's a time to be happy. It's a time. This is a good time. And
we do get a lot of pressure from
it's
our
like,
families.
don't tell me how to feel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Especially with, domestic abuse, the victim usually does have a lot of pressure to feel a certain way, not to feel angry and to feel supportive and happy, and the circumstances usually are the opposite of what would elicit those feelings. And so, just be kind to yourself, gentle with yourself. If you don't feel that way, you don't have any requirement to feel that way.
And I'm sure there may be also additional pressure if you're a parent, because you kind of want to put up maybe kind of a happy facade for your children.
Yeah.
Because Santa Claus is coming and all that. So you want to try to portray that this is a happy time. And it's probably for someone that has undergone or maybe is going through at that moment domestic violence or any type of relationship violence. It can be tough, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think that, when you're in a domestic violence situation and you have kids around, they are going to be aware of that at some level. And to pretend like nothing's happening can, I think, sometimes be more damaging than helpful. So maybe not focusing on it. You want your kids to have a good holiday if you can do that. But also if something is happening, to validate their experience rather than just undercut them and say, well, you have to be happy. You don't want to spread the shoulds around. You don't like feeling that way, so don't do it to your kids. Either. Validate them, make them feel like their feelings count too. And just enjoy the moments that you do have. There will be some. There's usually the good and the bad are happening at the same time. So you don't have to discount everything because bad things are happening. Yeah.
What are some of and this could go for anyone, whether they've gone through DV or not. The holidays themselves can be stressful.
Yeah.
No matter what kind of stress may or may not be going on in your personal situation, what can we do to eliminate or at least lessen some of the holiday stresses that are in our lives?
Yeah, well, eliminating them, I don't think that's even possible for anybody. Like, this is not possible.
Oh, true. Okay. Good.
Them,
that is a good point.
It's just a stressful time of year, let's admit it.
Right.
But I think that just being gentle with yourself, I like to talk about something called micro self-care, where, you're not trying to take a vacation during the holidays or take a whole day off, but like, go to the bathroom, take a little extra time in there, take a few deep breaths, look in the mirror, tell yourself, this is going to be okay, you'll get through it,
Yeah.
And, a lot of things that you can do are just little tiny things. Be mindful. Mindfulness is a great way to do things around the holidays. If you're decorating the tree, even if there's other stuff going on, be mindful about what you're doing. Look straight at the tree and be real present in that moment, which is hard for people who are in domestic violence situation. People tend to, space out, dissociate. Yeah. And so trying to bring yourself back to the present in times that are actually good and you can enjoy, it's important. Another thing I would encourage people to do if you are in a domestic violence situation, if your partner is not participating the way you want them to, is just going to cause, like, they want to stay in bed all day, for instance, or they want to just leave, let them. There's no requirement that they participate the way you want them to either. So, enjoy the holiday for yourself as much as you can. And if you can't, that is okay. So, I don't know how to eliminate the stress. It really is basically a given for all of us. It just is. That's the holiday season.
I think, probably.
Expectations are high.
Well, that's very true.
Lowering expectations could help, but you just gotta, do cost benefit analysis about how far you want to lower your expectations around the holiday. I mean, have some fun if it's possible, but also if nothing fun happens and it's a washout, that's okay.
Right.
That happens.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Do you have any tips or advice for someone who has kids and they're going through DV? Because, it affects the kids as well, and I think we've all been taught that, or we find that out once you start working here. Domestic violence for a family is not just between the spouses or partners. It is if there's children in the household, they're affected as well. Mm-hmm. And especially for kids, holidays are supposed to be a fun time and nice time. What can we do to help make sure the kids in the family are getting the best experience that they can?
I have 2 kids of my own, so I like to have them try to support each other. I mean, I think one of the best things you can do in a domestic violence situation with kids is help them help each other. A lot of times, the abuse might result in them having hard feelings towards each other and disrupt their relationship. So supporting their relationship as much as you can with each other, trying to get them to, think about what the other one wants for Christmas, if there's like a gift-giving tradition in your family. So encouraging them to be empathetic towards each other, just kind of encouraging them to do things in a different way.
Okay.
Also, reach out, make a plan before the holidays. That's something I didn't talk about before, but I think it's important to, if you know what this is going to be like, if you already kind of have some experience with what holidays have been like in the past, make connections, make a plan, have some people you can count on. If your church does like a communal meal on Christmas Day, go do that. Be in public somewhere where, the abuse is not going to happen or at least not in that moment, because there are people watching, and that tends to not happen when people are watching. So,
right.
Putting your children in a place where they can be with other people in a way that's maybe a little safer.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Is there anything else we haven't touched on regarding relationship violence and its connection to holidays, holiday time, that we haven't talked about yet?
I think, there's a lot more around the holidays than just the intimate partner relationship. Many people go to their families, they'll go to their parents' house, they'll take their kids to their grandma's house, and a lot of times, not a lot, but there are a lot of times where, you might be going to his parents' house and they don't see him as anything but wonderful. So, prepare for that.
Yeah.
Make some connections with people who know where you're going, who support you. And if you don't have those connections, feel free to call the hotline here, which is, what's the number, Stuart?
The toll-free number it's 1-800-828-7233.
Yes. I mean, make calls, reach out. Don't feel like you have to go through that alone, because that can be even harder than just being one-on-one. So just be aware that that's an added stress sometimes.
Well, and talking about families also, I felt very fortunate. My family, when we gather around for Christmas or Thanksgiving, everybody does get along. There's never been any family stress, no family drama, no squabbles or anything like that. But I know that's not the case for everyone.
For sure, yeah.
And it's still, whenever I hear some people I know talking about, I got to go to this place for Thanksgiving or Christmas, and man, I'm not looking forward to it. Sometimes we got, when you think about family stress, it's more than relationship violence. Sometimes it's just family dynamics.
Right,
Some
right.
family dynamics are not the best, I guess, and tradition almost dictates that you're kind of forced into these situations that you may not be exactly comfortable with.
Yeah, and I mean, that is something that I think people can be aware of, if you're an adult and your in-laws or your parents are asking you to come to their house. You're an adult. You can say, no, thank you. This year we're going to do it on our own.
Yeah.
Set boundaries. That's okay. If you're able to do that safely, do it.
Right. Okay.
Protect your peace of mind if you can. That's okay.
Yeah. Carrel, so, 2 months here at the Family Crisis Center. This is the first time you're on the podcast, something I kind of like to do sometimes.
Okay.
I don't know. Carol's eyes are getting as big as saucers right now. What made you to decide to get in this field of work of being a counselor and helping people with their life stresses and in stressful situations? What did little Carrel want to be?
Little Carrel wanted to be a pilot, but that didn't happen.
Okay. Interesting.
No, that was like my answer to that job question when I was a kid. But no, I think that this was definitely interest that developed as I was an adult. I graduated from college a while back. The distance between when I graduated from college and went back to school is about 20 years. So this was not something I had always wanted to do. It just kind of arose from my life and the circumstances of my life and seemed like a good fit for me and what kind of person I am and how I like to interact with people already. So,
right.
If I could get paid to do that, great. And also with this, as a counselor, there are certain benefits of having certain, boundaries around the relationship. So,
yeah. What's your original degree in? When you first went to school, what did
Philosophy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this isn't that far off. I mean, there is a lot of philosophy that goes into counseling.
Yeah.
Theories and things like that. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, Carrel, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Whenever I was wanting to approach one of our counselors about this, and I did think of you. I think it's a good time to get to know someone new here at the agency, and look forward to having you on again to talk about certain topics here sometime in the future. Thanks a lot.
Hopefully I was helpful.
You were, of course. Carrel King, one of our agency counselors here at the Family Crisis Center. And again, I do want to remind you once again, if you feel like you need the services of the Family Crisis Center, we do have our toll-free number. That's 1-800-828-7233. Also, be sure to subscribe to Conversations and Connections. You can do that via Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and pretty much any podcast service of your choice. Remember, be the voice, if not for you, for someone else.